See, this is gonna be something wacky. we got we got an interview that just dropped between Sadhguru, you know,
You know,
and Infinite Waters.
I don't know much about. Tell us about Infinite Waters.
Infinite Waters is like, he's like one of the biggest like new age spiritual YouTubers that I know. And maybe I'm just labeling him as new age, but he's got a lot of stuff that's like the Great Awakening is happening tomorrow. Like, and I haven't watched those, but I've seen the thumbnails. So I don't know what type of content lays behind it. I've listened to a few of his videos, and he's all about like self-empowerment, becoming your greatest form or whatever. But this is interesting. And I'm curious.
Here we go.
Let's ride.
Welcome,
Namaskaram,
Sadhguru.
Ralph.
Thank
And
you
you're
so
also
much.
smart. What can I do? I'm a dumb guy, huh?
Thank you so much for joining Infinite Waters, diving deep once again. We love your messages. We're going to dive straight into it.
Yeah.
Your new book, Karma. So much is happening around the world with everything with the global pandemic. And when I was reading your book, we often think that karma is about punishment and rewards. And we come to see that karma is about action and taking responsibility for your actions. We find ourselves in a global pandemic right now. And in what way do you feel we're responsible for everything that's happening? And how can we take responsibility and be a part of the solution in the midst of a global pandemic?
Well, if I say this, I'm going to be extremely unpopular with a whole lot of people. But I want you to understand that global pandemic right now, as severe as it seems, and it's taken over 500,000 lives, in spite of that, it is a small distraction from a larger trouble that's unfolding in the form of loss of biodiversity, climate change, ecological undoing of the planet in various ways. That is a much, much bigger problem, and we are happily walking towards a disaster, not walking, pushing the world towards it. So, in the meantime, the pandemic, unfortunately, it's cost over 500,000 lives and an endless amount of suffering for a whole lot of people. But in spite of that, we must understand it's a bit of a break. At the speed at which we're going towards the brink, this is kind of put a little bit of break. I've been saying this for a long time. Either we fix these mega problems on the planet consciously, or nature will do it to us cruelly. So right now, nature is doing it to us, and pretty cruel, but not as cruel as human beings have been to each other, in terms of wars, in terms of genocides, in terms of slavery, in terms of other kinds of exploitations that we have done to each other in the name of race, religion, nationality, philosophies and ideologies, what we have done to each other, what the virus is not doing is not too bad. And that way, if I say this, everybody will pounce on me right now, but let me say, I'm not insensitive to the suffering that's happened. Everybody, irrespective of who you are, in some way, everybody has taken a hit, including us, okay, including myself. We have taken a hit, we've lost so many people who are dear to us. Well, many of our activities, everything's upside down. This is true with everybody on various levels. So I'm not being not sensitive to that, but we need to understand the larger perspective, what we as human beings are doing on this planet. When we say human beings, this means…
Before he defines a human being, I like, what is a human being? I love with the way that he speaks that, you know, he'll say like I'm not being insensitive to things, but he'll just say, I'm not being insensitive. he will not try to like tiptoe. You know, like I feel like a thing that I'll usually do or often do is like defend my ego from a few angles and like make sure that everyone in the room could agree with what I'm gonna say and then move forward. Whereas he's like says his thing and then goes, it's not insensitive. And then either that leaves the viewer being like, either I can like project, I can be like, oh no, you are being insensitive. Or just be like, all right. It's just so good. I love how little friction caused.
Means we are the most intelligent species on the planet. The most intelligent species on the planet is doing the dumbest things that you can do in this universe. You're the only smart guy. Ralph smart, you are. But we are doing the dumbest things. Like in India, there is a fable where a man is cutting a branch, sitting on the wrong side of the branch, you know. When he succeeds, with full fury he is cutting, when he succeeds he will fall. Right now we are in this mode. Our ideas of development, our ideas of economic well-being, our ideas of dominance, our ideas of success, our ideas of doing well are all super destructive. The very way we exist is super destructive. Well, in the last 50 years, nearly 80% of the insect biomass is gone. 60% of the vertebrate population is gone. What are we waiting for? What is it that we are waiting for? At least this pandemic has put some brakes on us. This is a time to stop, introspect, look at what we are doing and see what best we can do next. Because everybody is saying, when will we get back to the old normal? The old was not normal, you were abnormal. Destroying all life around you is not normal. So when the post-pandemic situation comes, we must be aware enough, we must be conscious enough, we must be compassionate enough to create a new normal, not the old normal that we have been living. That is not normal. It is normal for a human being to be compassionate. It's normal for a human being to be inclusive. It's normal for a human being to be loving. It's normal for a human being to be joyful. Unfortunately, we've made it the reverse. If you're joyful, they think you're a freak. Yes. You must be miserable, you must be stressed, you must be anxious, then you're normal. So this has to change. This…
That's a big practice that I've been working on and still catch myself doing it all the time. But right when you see someone laughing or smiling, I've noticed that myself and a lot of the people I'm close with will say like, what is it? Like what? And it is as if it's like, happiness? What?
Yeah.
I can't just be smiling and laughing. You can't just be smiling and laughing without like judgment.
And also like, there must be a reason. Like there has to, like you ask like, oh, what are you laughing about?
Yeah.
So that it can be like, oh, let me explain what I'm laughing about so that you can like be like, oh, okay, now I know. And like, it's not gonna be funny when you know it. And also, there's the chance that like, I'm laughing at nothing.
Laughing at the absurdity of all of this.
Yeah. And… What, man?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
What are you laughing at?
Sorry, I was watching this video and I was doing it with my friend and we made these funny jokes.
Pandemic period is a good time for ourselves to reconsider what kind of life do we want to live for ourselves, what kind of life we want for everybody around us, what kind of life we want to offer for the unborn, for those who are yet to come. Because this planet doesn't belong to us, we are just here for a brief amount of time. So this is a good time to consider that.
It's a wake-up call from the universe. And I feel…
No, universe is not involved. Don't involve the universe, that's too big a thing. Right here, the mess we have done…
This is the stickiness that we were… This is honestly kind of why we reacted to this video, is because we were kind of waiting for the the funniness that's about to happen.
Yeah, I need to hear this again. So listen to how Ralph goes like, oh, this is the universe giving us a wake-up call. It's just fun. It's just fun.
This is a good time to consider that.
It's a wake-up call from the universe. And I
Oh,
feel
no, universe is not involved. Don't involve the universe, that's too big a thing. Right here, the mess we have done, so it is getting back at us, that's all. It's our karma, that's what I'm saying. It's our doing. This is our doing. So if we do something negative, something harmful, we are also capable of doing something positive. Positive is a bad word right now with the pandemic, I know. You're negative, right?
I'm both. Yes.
So, to do something positive, to do something that is good and nurturing for all life, as we have caused destruction, we are also capable of nurture, we are also capable of compassion, we are also capable…
I feel like Sadhguru is like at the point where he's like, okay, I take these interviews because I want to like get as many people to like get involved in what I'm doing as possible. And he's like, but I'm so sick of these. Because you just like, you keep seeing like with interviews with him, someone will be just mid-sentence, he's like, no. And he'll be like, no, this is how it is. He's like, I'm not even gonna listen to you finish your point because we're not even like, we're not there together. And I'm… and he just like has this like bluntness about him in his most recent like interview type stuff that I've noticed. And it's pretty humorous because it feels like I don't even know how to put it into words. It's like he's experienced whatever he's experienced and he's like, oh my gosh, I know this stuff. You're just like saying what you think you believe. And he's just like not putting up with it anymore.
It is interesting how much of the new age, and I'm labeling it new age, maybe that's not the right thing to do, but so many tongue twisters, so many brain twisters right in that moment. So much of the claims made on like a channel like Infinite Water is complete belief. Like a claim of the universe is giving us a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And I just love the way that Sadhguru brings it back to like, humans had a choice to do what we did.
Yeah.
We chose to do what we did, and now we're here.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all.
Yes.
of positive action. So this is a time to do that. Do you want to call this a wake-up call? I think the wake-up call planet has been screaming for the last 1 century.
Yes.
It is… if you still did not wake up, I don't know how you will wake up now.
Yes. And a lot of people are existing, but they're not living. Many people are just going about their day-to-day life. But when they say, what can I do? I'm just one person. What activity do you feel is the most beneficial activity any human being can do?
Well, if you reduce your activity, that's great. Because right now, in the beginning of 20th century, we were 1.6 billion people. Today we are inching towards 8 billion. They're saying by 2050 we will be 10.2 or 10.3 billion. Well, if you reduce your activity, it'll be good.
Yes.
Is he talking about sexual intercourse?
I like it how Ralph's like, yes. Yes.
This is
stuff.
And we can talk about the subconscious mind because a lot of people are now starting to realize the subconscious mind is controlling over 95% of our lives. This is the part of ourselves we're unaware of. Is it possible to reprogram the subconscious mind, and what role does yoga play?
Well, see, yoga does not look at mind as conscious, subconscious like this. we look at it like this, buddhi, ahankara, manas and chitta. What this means is the intellect, which is the front end, the sharper it is, the better it is. Your parents thought you were really sharp, so they called you smart. They didn't call me that, I don't know why. So, the front end must be sharp, it's very important. But this sharpness, will it work for well-being or to destruction, simply depends on what kind of identity you have. Right now, people have done the most horrible things because of limited identities that they've carried. Somebody in the name of belonging to a certain nation, how many cruel things they've done? How many wars have we fought? How many millions have we killed? Somebody who's identified with a religion, oh my God, what all they have done, and you see right now Afghanistan is unfolding. But the people who are doing whatever they're doing, because of their identity, they think they're doing the right thing. With great conviction, with a divine stamp on their actions, which look horrific for somebody else, but for them, they're doing the right thing. This is because of the kind of identities you take. The moment you take limited identity, your intelligence is a peril for the world and for yourself probably. It is a peril, real peril. Right now that's all you see. What is it that human beings are suffering? They're suffering the sharpness of their own intelligence. If you take off half their brains, all of them will be peaceful, believe me. Yes.
We
Right
think
now
we know too much.
No, you don't know nothing. No. We know nothing. It's just that you have a sharp mind and you're cutting yourself all the time. You call this stress, you call this anxiety, you call this misery, you call this madness, you call this depression, call it what you want. Essentially, you have turned the sharpness of your intelligence against yourself. Today I was talking to a group because today is supposed to be the day for preventing suicide on the planet. Over 700,000 people committed suicide last year or so, 19, I think, 2019.
Whoa.
So, every 20 seconds, somebody in the world is taking his own life. So, suicide is the ultimate manifestation of your mind turning against yourself. Initially you call it stress, then you call it anxiety, then you call it depression, then you call it madness, then you call it suicide. But essentially, your own intelligence turned against you. So, how you hold this knife of intelligence, with what kind of hand, with what kind of grip you hold is very important. This is something, unfortunately, modern societies have simply failed to address. This is why you are seeing this as more education and more knowledge, more science, more technology comes, people are becoming more and more destructive and more damage and more problems are happening simply because the identity. My identity versus your identity. Believe me, today we may be fine, but if it comes to a point, we will fight, we will kill each other. Because maybe we will kill each other because we belong to different nations, maybe we will kill each other because we belong to different religions or different race or different identity, philosophy, ideology, something. So the moment you make a limited identification, now you are in conflict with something. It is very important human…
Does anyone else hear explosions in the background?
Very confused.
Fireworks, maybe? One thing that did come to mind this morning, I got on the computer, had to just do some stuff for a doctor appointment, got on there, went to the internet and clicked on the YouTube tab to see whatever was going on, or to check on our channel, started scrolling as you do in YouTube when something catches your eye, you're like, whoa. And then I paused for a second, I was like, what if I just continued to scroll right now and tried my best not to latch on to any thumbnail title I see.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was scrolling, this was on, it might have been, I think I actually flipped over to my personal channel or something, and what I was seeing was all these title thumbnails doing exactly this, identified with a very specific thing, saying the opposite from each other. Most of them were about COVID that were in the thing, because I'm trying to stay up to date on that. but then I want information from all sides. So like then it will be this one clip, thumbnail title, and this clip, thumbnail title, same situation, saying the opposite thing. And I'm just scrolling there and realizing that like these thumbnail titles are like the same battles that I have inside of my mind. And it's just like, whoa. And when you just see it laid out like that, and the fact that our news feeds, they're designed by what you like and dislike, because those are going to get the most clicks, keep you there the longest. So it's literally like a news feed is a good way to almost see like your like the things you're gripping to, your identities. It was really interesting of just being like, whoa, that's like the type of stuff happening right here.
It's very difficult to... For me, it's like I open YouTube and instantly I'm just like my eye just goes somewhere. And it's just like, you're right, it just like completely latches on. But then, if your YouTube feed is full of spirituality content, does that mean you're most identified with it?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And that's also an identification you've dropped. Like the spiritual ego comes in hot, you know?
Yes.
And it's doing the same amount of shittiness. Oh, very interesting.
Sidebar question.
Yeah.
I heard the other day someone named David Godman. He's like one of the leading scholars on Ramana Maharshi. He said that if you're looking for a guru or a teacher, he was like, there's a lot of things that you can like use to decide whether this is a valid teacher or not. And one of the things he said, he was like, number one, will they accept your money? Are they doing this at all for any monetary gain? And he said that is like, he was like, that's number one in choosing a guru. And this is, Godman is someone who I listen to a decent amount, and so I just want to hear your reasoning behind, because someone also said for us, like, oh, why is your satsang like behind a paywall? Things like that. And that just like made me think today, like, what makes you have this like trust in Sadhguru, even though there's a whole institution around him, there's money being made, there's products being sold, things like that. Yeah, just like what keeps you engaged in that? What makes you trust that process and decide to follow him for those who do?